Right, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody is doing well. Today's video is a video that was recorded about 18 months ago. It is the podcast I did with trade legends when this YouTube channel was very small. I think I had 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers on the channel, and I got invited onto the Trade Legends podcast with Al, who owns Unilight, and PB Plumber with Pete. I went on with another lad called Alex Woodward, another plumber from up north, who's now, I think he's living in Australia. Basically done a podcast with them, interviewing both of us, but from my side of it, asked me how I got into it, how I got into the social media side of stuff, just an overview of my life doing plumbing. So as I now do a bit with the Trade Legend stuff, and obviously sponsored by Unilight, I said to Al, could I take that podcast that we recorded and put it out on my channel for a lot more people to see? Because not a lot of people may have gone onto the Trade Legends podcast and watched it. So I've uploaded it here. Now, if you're interested in this sort of stuff, I'll put the link in the description below. Jump onto the Trade Legends channel. I help do some hosting on it when Pete's not about. We get some great guests on from plumbers, electricians, carpenters, brickies, everyone in the trade, men, women. We've even had Charlie Mullins from Pimlico Plumbers on there, a couple of influencers from over in America. So it's just a really, really good trade-based podcast. You can get it on YouTube. It's also on Spotify. When I'm in the van, you know, going to work and that, I listen to a lot of them then. Take a look, see what you think. Drop me a comment below. Hit the like button. Hitting the like button on these videos makes a massive difference. So yeah, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button as always, and I hope you enjoy a little bit of an insight into 18 months ago where I was, and a nice fun little podcast. We do go off on little tangents every now and again, but yeah, it's good fun. So hope you enjoy it.
Welcome to the next Trade Legends podcast with me, PB Plumber, and Alex, the Nugget Inslee.
Big L.
Sponsored by Balenciaga.
€4.
So, last podcast, we had a bit of falling out, didn't we? Because you were banging on the table again. Mm-hmm. And at the start of every podcast, what do we tell people?
Don't bang on the table.
Because it makes it a nightmare for Jack to edit. So, guys,
and it really
without
nice
wanting
Pete.
to sound like I'm telling you off.
No banging on the table.
I've got the dog bowl. If you do it again, you're licking out the dog bowl. It's
even though we've told you, please don't bang on the table, he will still bang on the table.
Do you know what that award's for? Table banger 2021. Talking about awards, Pete. What's your?
Well, I brought it because
I didn't even see that.
Have you lot not brought your awards?
No.
So we've just been to, we've got a plumber special tonight. Let me just introduce the guests. We've got Mark from MJ Tiff Plumbing.
Bonjour.
Alex Woodward. Both plumbers. You've both been down for the installer show in Coventry.
Did you make it there, Al?
I did, mate. I did. And then I didn't make it back, but I was supposed to be there today. But
you weren't with Andy Kemp, were you?
Nah.
Yeah, there's some stories. There's a lot of plumbers that are been a bit ropey today, I think.
Yeah.
After Andy Cam's story yesterday, they've sold out of step ladders.
Jesus Christ.
So, we had an award ceremony and I won this award. So I thought I'd bring it because I didn't say anything at the time because I was a bit overwhelmed. But yeah, I got an award for, we raised some money for a plumber who had, unfortunately got cancer and was trying to raise money for his family so he could sell his van and his business basically. So that's what that was for. But today I had a really nice experience. You know, when your faith in humanity is restored. So we did a competition. Well, I didn't do it. I was just asked to pick the winner. But a company called Snap It, they were giving away a press tool. And it was completely random, and it landed on this email address. And the kid was walking past just as it was drawn out, and he was so happy he'd won.
He didn't jump on you, did he?
No, he couldn't believe it. His hands were shaking, and he was so happy, and he was saying, I can't wait to tell my mum and dad. And it was just a really nice moment. He was so polite. And earlier in the day, we'd done a talk to the students, and they'd all sat there like zombies. Like we were supposed to give them a Q&A. Not one of them asked a question. And I was just thinking, is this the future of our industry? These just like...
I just knew it was PB Plumber and all a bit
just
like...
But the funniest... In awe of it. Is that guy?
No. This is the best part.
It's the dog bowl guy.
This is the best part.
He won an award.
So we're on camera on the main stage, and the presenter said to this young lad who's just won, of course you know who this is, and he was like, no.
Brilliant.
It was brilliant. He didn't have a clue who I was, but he won this award, and he was
just
really
said that
nice.
though.
He won this press tool, And then we took him to show him how a press tool works. He didn't have a clue. He's on his first week of plumbing college. And then we took him to the velocity stand and got him a kit bag because he was just such a nice kid. So
fair play.
yes,
to
had
him.
a nice,
God,
nice end to the show.
So I know what to do if I want free shit next year.
Just say you don't know him.
Yeah. Don't pretend you're PB plumber. Just be like really grateful when someone gives you something. Then go up to people and be like, oh, free tool bags all around. Tony, where's my tool bag?
Just
Come on.
lashing them out like that. Tool bag for you. Tool bag for you.
Did you get a tool bag? Oh, I never got it. Oh, you get a
I
tool
didn't get
bag.
one, no.
Oh, Pete.
Would you use a tool bag? What for?
I don't know, me makeup. Hair and beauty products. Creams, Pete, creams.
Fluffing himself up.
So he's not got a tool bag because he can afford Balenciaga t-shirts.
This is a €4 job. This is from Crete. €4. Literally, my sister had one of these tops from Crete before,
Yeah.
a Gucci one. And when she washed it, it said Hoochie. Then she washed it again, it said Coochie. It's like every time she was washing it, it was like spelling
Just
different
hasn't
things.
washed it yet.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't. I was actually wearing it on yesterday's podcast. He said, look, you smelly bastard. What
I
are you
did want to
saying?
mention it. I did spot it.
I was like, thanks, Pete.
Yeah.
I only wore it for the podcast yesterday, so I thought, right, I'm putting it on for the rest of the day.
Does Pete wear pink for every podcast?
No,
I think
he's-
I've
he's-
worn this for the podcast before.
He has.
though.
He has.
I watched one coming down. You were wearing that.
I was wearing this at the show and I didn't have time to change because I was stuck in traffic.
Oh, here we go.
Again.
It's
Yeah.
pot kettle black. Anyway, moving on from mine and your washing habits. So, congratulations on winning your award.
Thank you.
It's nice to see some
done,
of the
mate.
stuff that you do get recognised rather than people bashing you and giving you loads of shit on the internet.
Yeah, mate, well done. That was good.
So, well done on that. I mean, you guys have been at Installer as well.
Yep.
You know, good to be back. We asked this question last night, didn't we? Good to be back at shows. I know you were at the Tool Fair.
I did the Tool Fair last week.
This
last
one,
week?
this one better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Tool Fair, just coming out the back of COVID, I don't think people were sure how it was going to go and this, that and the other. And obviously the tool people, I don't know what it cost them. It cost them a few quid to have a stand there.
Well, Alex will tell you how much.
I was going to say, yeah.
I can't actually divulge my rates because
It's $8,000.
because I get
Weren't-
better
weren't
rates.
it-
No,
weren't-
the hardest thing, the most expensive thing was setting that new stand up. I'll
Yeah.
be perfectly honest with you. It literally was like getting kicked in the.
I reckon,
in the
depending on over the years, what I've spoke to people, I think if you've got a very small, if you've got like a new idea or something, it's going to be $2 or $3 grand.
And little booze in the corner.
Yeah, so something like $2 or $3 grand, and then if you're one of the big ones, it's like 20k.
In
A big booth.
yeah, he's a very big booth.
I'm sorry, I've
Massive
heard.
booth.
But the installer show is a lot more expensive,
Yeah.
which is hence why we've never done it.
Well, the way they do it is if they get every time you go in, they scan you, don't they? And then the footfall is what they use to sell it. We can guarantee you between this many and this many people on your stand over the 3 days, so it's this much money. And if it's not a busy as show, obviously it's going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
That warehouse store must have cost a fortune because that was the first thing you saw when you came in.
Yeah.
Just tools everywhere.
So would they price it on as you walk through the door? Would they go because they're at the
No,
front?
I think what it is you get like the floor map, and you basically
Can you pick?
you can pick, and then 9 times out of 10 I'll always go by a competitor because I really want to piss on their chips.
Look what we've got.
No, well, I like to be like really smug from the
He's
other
that
side.
guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's that guy at the
I
show.
well, I just
well annoying.
no, because the thing is, it's also another thing when you've got your competitor there is you know that they always badmouth you. I never I drill it into everybody never badmouth a competitor ever, because there's always somebody that likes that product, likes that brand, likes
just
that company.
piss on the chips.
But if I'm stood there, they can't badmouth me because I just, how you doing? You know,
wave
I'm over here, and then it also does them in the head when our stand's always busy because it is always busy.
See, that's the money. That's what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it?
So it's a bit of psychological warfare, but I competitor-wise, but that's normally what happens is you pick where you want to go with your stand. But somebody like Vera or Nipex to have like a big stand, even Milwaukee, because that's like a big aluminium sort of stanchion stand, something like that to actually get it made. Like the Vera
big
one,
money,
you're going to
isn't
be
it?
looking 30,000-40,000 just for the stand. Then to set it up and take down.
Yeah.
Like we had a brand new stand which you saw at the show. That was £8,000 to set that up and to take it down.
That's
So
weird.
when you get, obviously, don't allow students or certain members of the public to come in, then you're sort of a bit like, well, hold on a minute, it's costing me this much.
Look at this fucking lot we've paid for.
Just get everybody in,
Yeah.
regardless.
But I think like student day today, and it's like they walk past and they're just looking for free pens and stickers and stuff.
So I spoke to someone today. I can't remember what stand it was. I went, because I went Tuesday, and then today I just stuck my head in just to catch up on a couple of bits before coming here. And I said to one guy, "Have you found it?" He went, "Today they just the students, the young lads and girls are coming up. What can we get for free? Pens, rubbers, PB Plumber stickers. Like, you know, they just want them. No, we'll leave those. Go here. But yeah, they just seem to be on the take.
Yeah.
Fair play to them, but that's what it's for, isn't it?
I mean, when you're a student,
It's all down here.
Yeah, exactly.
that's what you're looking for from a trade. So you want some freebies. don't you?
So you obviously went to both.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you think because installer is primarily just specifically aimed at plumbers,
Yeah.
that obviously you're getting, you know, you prefer? I know obviously you're a plumber, but when you go to another show, you might still be like, well, actually, the amount of stuff here, even though it doesn't relate to me sometimes, actually it's a better show. Is it? Do you think that installer has hit the right note then compared to some of these others because they've just pigeonholed into?
I think
into
they
the plumbing
market
side?
it well as well. I think that they get it out there, and it's especially that seems to be the first big show back, if you like. Tool Fair, yes, Tool Fair's a big-ish show. It's not as big as it has been, but that installer show today, you know, the last few days, it just seemed dead positive. They've been bang on with the social media. Everyone that tags them, they seem to have put it out there, reposted it. They're quite active, and I think that's worked a treat. It's got even people that I know. I went Tuesday, and people are saying, "How do we get there?" You know, lads that weren't aware of it, and they've been there today. So just getting in that mindset of being out there, I think sort of works.
Yeah. Have you missed the shows?
Yeah, I have a bit. It was always something to look forward to get at. You know, just gives you that little day off, a couple of days off, just to go, right, we'll have a bit of a break. We'll go and have a nose, see what's coming out.
Yeah.
And then, especially with the social media side, is you're seeing so-and-so, you're seeing so-and-so. People that you've interacted virtually, you're getting to meet them. So, yeah, I like the shows.
What about you? You're happy to be back at a show? Is it good
That was actually my first show.
Was
But
it?
I'm also quite glad that it's an annual thing, because if there was one of them every week, I don't think I'd make it, to be
If
honest.
you saw Andy Cam out in a casino every week.
Nah, but it was really good because I went with my dad, and he's been a plumber for 40 odd years, so he's never done anything like that. So he actually really enjoyed it, which was good to see.
I assume he's been to shows before.
I don't know if he has. I don't think so. Yeah. He's been taken to Germany before by some of the merchants and stuff like that. Like he is good at what he does. But that was his first show, he proper enjoyed it. Ended up buying an analyzer and loads of tools, and that spent a fortune. So fair play to him.
You do when you're in there, though, don't you?
Yeah, get sucked in there.
Yeah.
He got me an headlock last week. Made me get one of his bags.
It's all kicked off though on Instagram today.
How come?
Because I won't mention the brand name, but someone was selling something at a show price.
Yeah.
That was actually 1 pence dearer than what you can buy it for at Screwfix.
Yeah, I know.
1 pence.
I know
Nipex
where
or
you're at.
Vera?
I'm not saying, but
I know where you're
I
at.
think if you go into a show, you want a good deal, you want a
Yeah.
discount.
Yeah.
So, some suppliers like myself will probably think, well, actually, I don't want to piss off distributors. We always do a show price, so if you come to the show, you're generally getting something that's
You've got to do a show price, because guys obviously they want to have a look around and see new stuff, but they want to buy stuff. They want to come away with a new drill or a new kit, hopefully a new kit bag.
Yeah.
You've got to get rid of some of that.
A PB Plumber kit bag.
They've got to get rid of some of that COVID cash they've got as well. That's got to go.
If the Inland Revenue's watching this, I ain't got a clue what you're on about, mate.
Only what I've heard.
HMRC. I know ABC. HMRC. You don't know about those.
But yeah, that's one of the things. Like your dad's obviously
Yeah.
bought a load of gear, and he's gonna have that feeling of I've got some.
Yeah.
got
I
some
tried to
good
get him
deals.
to buy one of the Velocity bags,
Yeah.
even if it was your bag, but because I've got Vito stuff in that, and
Yeah.
he's too old school. He's
Yeah,
like, why
yeah.
you just spend that in a bag? Like he would happily carry a bucket. Do you know what I mean?
It's
Just
a
for
lot of
his
money
bags
for a
and that,
bag,
so-
and if you're not,
If you use it every day, then you see the benefit.
You do. It
Yeah.
does pay for itself 100%.
The only issue is if like some of the older generation, they're not used to paying that for a bag. They just think they see the bag as like, I just lob everything in. But
Yeah.
I think younger generation, if you're actually starting using a bag now, and you'll use one for the whole year, like you'll see the benefit of like keeping your tools like in a good condition.
I remember
in
being
an
an
easy.
apprentice, and the guy I learnt off had you'd probably be the same. Just a big leather. Remember the big leather tool bag?
Yeah, yeah.
Just with the
Yeah.
two handles. Just bung everything in it, close it up like that.
Like
Put
a,
it away.
like a doctor's bag.
Yeah, and it's just fucking hanging out the side, pipe benders,
You
lead
can't find
dressing
anything. It's a
tools.
bit more organised, a bit more organisation, a bit like sticking
yeah,
a racket
that's
in
the
your back.
veto effect. Like everything's got a place and everything's vertical, so you can see it's all organised. But when I was an apprentice, Kev, he had a metal Stanley, just a toolbox with a plastic tray in it.
Yeah.
And that's all he ever used. Which you obviously can stand on them, sit on them, but they're heavy. Not
It
cool.
is each to their own, but see when you see people take pictures of all the tools that they fit in the bag, it is quite impressive because you could literally fill this table with tools, and they fit in the bag.
Yeah.
And it's
I mean,
pretty,
is that why you got into plumbing then, due to your dad?
yeah, so I actually went to university for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
What did you
the piss up at the
What did you
start.
study?
It was international marketing at
Right.
Glasgow Caledonian University, and it's funny because I was there for 2 weeks, and I basically just
Their intake now is going to drop.
yeah,
next
no, I mean,
year.
it was so bad because I didn't really like school.
Don't go.
I kind of I messed about school quite a lot. So when I did do the 6 years, but and got my hires. So when I got into uni, I was like, oh, brilliant! Like all that school stuff, that's out the way. And I remember like week 1, the lady was like, right, you need to buy these textbooks for our exams in December. And I remember going home thinking, fucking exams and all that, just don't want to do it. So I said to my dad, in 4 years, I'd rather be a gas safe engineer as opposed to having that degree. So
I was the same. So I did my A levels, and like when you do GCSEs, they sort of you're made to do it, and you're made to revise, and there's all these things going on. A levels, they kind of leave it to you a bit.
Yeah.
And I didn't do any revision for my A levels. And then I took a year out, and I was going to go to university, but I thought if I go to university and they're not forced, you just do it yourself. They don't force you to anything. You can turn up to a lecture or you don't. And I just thought I'm not gonna be motivated enough to do it. I didn't like school.
Being a lifeguard, mate.
So once I started earning money, that was it. I wanted to, and that's when I got my apprenticeships. I never went to uni, but
apprenticeships are difficult though, because I worked with my dad. People think, oh, there's benefits to it, but he paid me buttons, like literally buttons.
you can't do overtime when you work for family.
Well, no. So what we were doing is we were working like 12-hour days, and I was getting £100 a week.
Yeah.
But I couldn't really argue because I was living in his house. Do you know what I mean? So and he was feeding me and everything else. But at the time, my mates were they were all at university, so they were doing waiter jobs and things like that. So they were getting loads of tips. So they were going out Wednesdays and Thursdays, and I was trying to keep up with them. But £100 doesn't get you far on a night out. Do you know what I mean? So. It was only until third year where I actually started making a bit more money that you could start doing things. Do you know what I mean?
But I bet some of those that have actually gone to uni don't actually make as much money as probably what you do now, do they?
Well, I don't know if HMRC are talking.
Not you as well, jeez.
I make nothing.
Everyone in the comments now tagging him.
I don't
God,
make any
shit, I
money.
need to do my tax returns.
No, I don't make any money. But charity.
Just break even, we break even.
Yeah, you can go on our business website. It's charityplumbing.co.uk.
Any donations are welcome.
Yeah, we just do this for the fun of it.
So I mean, in terms of like you getting started, then obviously went to uni, didn't like uni. Well, you can call it going to uni because you still applied and you went. Didn't like it. Decided to go into plumbing.
Yeah.
How did that then sort of progress? You're fully qualified now.
Yeah, fully qualified. So when I done plumbing, it was actually really good because I wasn't really interested in uni and I wasn't interested in doing anything. So when we started the plumbing, there's two ways you can look at it. You get apprentices now who start and you can just tell for day one they don't want to do this. Do you know what I mean? They're just there. They're looking at what time work finishes. They're just treating it as a job. And then you get the other side of things where you get totally invested in it. You spend your time revising, buying tools. You're just totally invested in it. So I kind of went down that path. So it was quite funny because people on my Instagram from like when I was like 21, 22 years old, my mates would post pictures in the pub and that, and I was putting up pictures of pipe clips and shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I look like a total virgin on the internet. To be honest.
Pipe porn.
Yeah.
He likes a bit of that.
But yeah, no, I just get totally invested in it. And when you do that, I'm quite lucky as well because there's guys that were in my college class that they were on a building site for the entire apprenticeship. So their job was like just doing a bit of guttering and plastic. So when they actually went out in the real world, they didn't really know anything else other than these builds.
Yeah.
But with my dad, we've done biomass, air source, like hotels, factories, we've just covered everything. Worked in the British Museum in London to like Mrs. May's kitchen. Do you know what I mean? Just full. So I've had a really good apprenticeship.
Is that Theresa May's kitchen?
What's that?
Did you say Mrs. May's kitchen?
I'm not allowed to talk about my clients.
Don't kiss and tell, Theresa.
I did a job at Alex Insley's house, never got paid.
Still waiting.
Still waiting.
Well, none of us get paid, if you remember.
Yeah, exactly, Pete. Doing you a favour for your tax bill.
I remember when I was at college, obviously doing the same course as a guy who was working for Norman Underwoods, which was like a lead company, so they were just doing lead work.
Yeah.
He got the same qualification from me as me when we left college, but he'd never even changed a tap because all he did was lead work. So
you're going to get accused of using lead again now, Pete. Now you mentioned the word.
He said lead. One of the boys got his gas tickets and he'd never actually sold as a joint.
Yeah.
So like one of the tasks in college was I think we were soldering on a cap end or something, and the boy had never done it before, and I was like, how did you get this far without soldering? But you don't need to solder now anyway, it's all press, isn't it? But quite...
Did you see him there?
You've not ventured into a lot of press yet.
First go at press fitting was at was it Tuesday? Yeah, I went to the Lawton stand and your man there had the press gun there.
Yeah.
And just chatting away to him.
Did it feel a bit alien?
It felt, yeah.
Did you feel like you were cheating on your shoulder?
Yeah, felt like I was letting myself down.
Like goes home like Jim Carrey.
Yeah, just like, was it the crying game when I sat in the shower, shaking naked in the shower?
If they don't make water hot enough.
So wrong, but it felt so right.
I don't know, it just felt, I can't get it through
You
my
loved
head.
it, didn't you?
I don't
He
know.
felt dirty, but he loved it.
Loved it.
The best thing about press is, see when you get in after doing like a full heating system, and you just your hands are just that black way, and you're like, me and my dad went into a pub when we were working away, and we got to the bar, and a guy sitting at the bar goes like, "Are you plumbers?" And we went, "Yeah, maybe he's seen us on a job or something." He goes, "Because you smell like plumbers." I was like, "Oh, you dick."
That's nice.
So at least
a day of handling copper pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
there's
can
that
tell.
aroma.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know if I'm going to be that press guy.
Aren't you?
I don't. But we had this when plastic came about 10 years or so. Oh, can't do that. But then that slowly adopted. I don't know how long's press fit stuff been about.
Ages to think
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
more commercial.
See if
and
you
it's
do-
Yeah, yeah.
wormed its way
You're
into
forced to
domestic.
do it if you do it commercial. We do a lot of commercial work, and you can't work in a school or a hospital. It has to be pressed. They're not allowed.
It gets rid of the hot works
Yeah.
permits and
Yeah,
stuff.
but they reckon it's gonna become even more popular, and they're gonna ban hot works in most places.
Yeah.
So-
Right.
The last time I sold a joint was in 2019, but we were working in Notre Dame.
So in other words, you ain't got a bloody choice, mate.
Straight over his head.
I love the way they were just like, no, you're fucked. You're going to have to do it. Get pressing, son.
No,
Pressing.
we'll see.
It's an expensive game though. Like I've got
Well, how much is a press? How much
to
are
get
they?
yourself set up,
The
Yeah.
press thing.
Yeah.
press gun, 15,
gun.
22, 28 mil jaws, couple of batteries, 1,400 quid.
but you get V press and M press jaws. So banging the table.
Yeah.
So so you get Connex fittings. That's what you use.
Yeah.
They're V press, and then Express. They're more popular. They're M press.
But even more confusing, Conex is B press,
Yeah.
but it uses a V jaw. So I swear they do it just to confuse people.
Yeah.
And then you've got MLCP, you've got a U jaw, a TH jaw. Every time you buy a
I'll stick to
jaw,
soldering.
I've
It's
got
a lot.
Anthony Joshua jaw.
you got 16
not very
mil,
harsh.
20 mil,
Yeah.
you got 15, 22, 28. Every profile for every size needs its own jaw, and it's 80 quid a pop.
Is it?
So it can get
Yeah, they're expensive. But I've found it before. You get see with soldering. The good thing about soldering is you can take it apart and things like that.
Yeah.
Whereas I would press so if say you do like a sort of bit of a rig, and then you get that one fit and it just doesn't catch right, and then it leaks. You not only you have to rip out like the full lot. Do you know what I mean?
Take a lot
You've
out.
wasted a fortune in fittings. So
What it does do though, it makes you think, because sometimes you can't get your press tool in, so you think, right, have I got to press this before I put it in situ? Am I going to get my press tool in there? Can I get away with bending that because the fittings are so expensive? And it does make you think a bit. And then when you get used to it, then it becomes second nature. Right?
if it's going to be if it's going to be economical, you need to get good terms with your merchant. So what got me into press was the Connex rep for Glasgow. He set up my account at Wolseley, and he gave me the best terms on all the fittings. Because if he didn't do that, then it's hard to price a job.
So what's a 15 mil elbow press fit?
About £1,000. I actually don't even know.
The best way to think about it is it's slightly cheaper than a push fit, speed fit
Yeah.
fitting plastic one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's more the tool getting
But you
into the
get
tool.
gas fittings as well, and water fittings. They're separate.
Just
So-
for extra life.
yeah, gas has yellow rings on them.
You basically need 10 grand.
Yeah.
But things like this make you think, why don't they just have one profile and everyone stick? Because even in MLCP, some of them are like one brand is 25 mil, another brand is 26 mil.
Yeah.
That's 1 millimeter difference.
And that's like these. Why is that a lightning cable and not a USB Type C?
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Yeah.
pisses me off.
Just as a tip though, I had a Connex fitting that I crimped, and it was weeping, and I crimped it again, it was weeping, crimped it again, and what I done was I changed the V jaw to the M jaw and done
Yeah.
it, and then it stops. So sometimes that gets you at home.
So
Yeah,
you can, if it's crimping up, and you've got a weep, you can shift them jaws round a little bit.
You can crimp it at a different angle, sort of thing,
Right.
and try and catch it. But sometimes, when it does go, there's a problem with the rubber. It is the most frustrating thing ever, isn't it?
Yeah, the thing with there's rules to pressing that you have to stick to for the warranty. But like I shouldn't say this, but
You
I
change
don't.
your rubber- you change
I
your
bend the
rubbers.
rules.
I shouldn't say
I'm the
this
rule maker.
because
He's just a nutter, isn't he? Don't
Yeah.
care.
He's
But if
living on the
you-
edge with his dog ball.
if you're using a 50mm press fitting and you have an issue with it, and it's because you've done something wrong, you're not going to contact the person who made that fitting and claim against them to come and
Yeah.
change a 50mm elbow. You're just going to rip it out and do it. So, but yeah, like the M and the V, if you pressed a V profile fitting with an M jaw, you've got no warranty.
Can you see the markings on it where it's pressed differently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know.
They
And
know.
if you flood a house and they come out and you've used the wrong jaw, you've done anything wrong, you've got no warranty.
So I suppose it's like, in essence, you push fit or your plastic stuff, you've got to bank the inserts in.
Yeah.
A lot of people, well, some people don't, they'll get
Yeah.
issues.
My press gun's got Bluetooth, so see when they calibrate it, they can tell how many.
He's just texting his press tool. You okay?
You up?
You're right.
Where are you?
Got job tomorrow.
Where are you? V
Yeah.
fit, not M.
How's,
V.
how's your piston? You're right for oil.
Send me a picture of your video.
Oh, crack me up.
Yeah, let's do that.
So I mean, obviously that's how you've got started. Then
Yeah.
going back to that. I mean, cross sort of like you going from an apprentice into being fully qualified. What other stuff have you come up against that's like
What do you mean, like in my personal life?
personal life?
Well-
like anything work wise where you.
Well, I do a lot of. I'm really active. I do a lot of running. So I've ran 5 marathons before. I've done like Paris, Loch Ness, Copenhagen, Amsterdam, and the Boston. But that was a virtual one because of COVID.
Yeah.
But anyway, last year I went a 30-mile run, and I was actually urinating blood for 3 days. And me being me, I was just totally ignoring it. Like I was finding it funny. I was taking pictures of it and sending it to my mates.
Look at this guy.
Right, Bina.
I was like, it's still happening. Mum's like, go to the hospital now. So I did go.
Yeah.
So they'd done a CT scan to check my kidneys and my urinary tract, and I didn't think much of it. And then I got a phone call 2 weeks later. I was on a building site in Ayrshire. And I was with my dad at the time actually, and they phoned me up saying, good news, your kidneys are fine, your urinary tract's fine. However, we found a 6 centimetre tumour on a nerve in your lower back. So I remember them telling me that, and I was like, what? And then I says, can you tell me anything more? And they went, oh no, we can't tell you anything more. We'll be in touch. Bye.
Just left you hanging like
Yeah,
that.
I remember my dad was like, what was that? And I was just like, oh, it's nothing. See, because I hadn't hit me yet, I was kind of like, nothing. And you go back to work, but your head's like frazzled. So I got a phone call a few days later to say you're going to get a MRI scan in a few weeks' time. By the way, the urinating blood thing had nothing to do with the tumour. That was just a hydration issue. But luckily it happened because that's how we discovered this. So we done an MRI scan, and then they says, right, we'll be in touch with the results. So this had been about 4 or 5 weeks from them being told I had the tumour to 5 weeks later to getting the phone call saying. So I was waiting for this phone call. I was waiting for the result, and I was on a job in Hamilton or whatever, and the phone goes, and it was like unknown number, so I knew it was a doctor. So I was like brace myself, here we go. Answered the phone. I'd been bigging myself up for ages for this result, and the guy at Monklands Hospital was like, listen, we're really sorry, we don't know how to say this, but we actually don't know what this is. All the doctors here have looked at it, so we're going to refer you to the Royal Infirmary, the bone and soft tissue specialists. So I was like, gee. But I told everybody that day that I was getting the results. So everyone was like, oh, so how did they go, what happened? And I'm like, they don't know. And then it kind of scares you when they don't, like, you've got medical professionals going, what's this? So I had to then tell everybody, so it went for 5 weeks, and then 3 weeks later I was in the Royal Infirmary. They didn't want to waste any time. They just put me straight in for a CT biopsy. So what that was is I had to go in, lie down on the table, and they put a needle through my muscle underneath my spine. So once it wasn't like a video, so for them to see what they were doing, they put the needle, move it 10 mil, and then I was back in the CT machine, picture, back out, look at the picture, right, move it a wee bit to the left, back in, picture. It was like pure. But the guy that was doing it, who had this like sort of, no apprentice, but like a trainee doctor type of thing, and he was like, do you mind if he does this today? And I was like, well, yeah, but Right?
How good is he at darts? That's what you should have
Yeah,
said.
but anyway, so he puts the needle in and he turns it to the. I go in the machine and I come out, and the doctor goes, "Yep, just a wee bit to the right," and I go back and he puts it to the right, and I'm like, ugh, and he puts me back in the machine, puts me back out, and the doctor goes, "No, not left, right," and I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean not left?" It's just like waving this needle a bit in my back. So anyway, after that happened, that was kind of uncomfortable. But see, doctors lie to you. They'll be like, "This will not be fine. It won't hurt." But they sat me down before this, and they were like, "This is going to be excruciating." I'm like, "Brilliant." So after that, they says, "Right, we'll tell you if you've got cancer or not in 10 days." So I was like, "Okay." So I remember after that, I went to work the next day. I wasn't really there. You know that way when you're working. You know, if you had one bad day in our industry, you can blow someone's house up, or you've got to be on the ball all the time. I know that sounds a bit dramatic, but you do need to be on the ball all the time. So I was working in houses and I wasn't really thinking what I was doing. My head was elsewhere because people were trying to book me in for work, and I didn't know if in 1 month's time if I was going to be doing chemo, if I was even going to be working. So it's hard, and you work for yourself. So whatever you do, you have to earn. If you don't work, you don't earn, essentially. So it was quite difficult in that sense. So I just went to Turkey because I didn't want to go to work for 10 days not knowing what was happening. So I went to Turkey, and when I came back from Turkey, I got a phone call as I was going back to the airport to say, "Great news, it's not cancer." Which that would have been murder, see if I got that phone call and says it was cancer, because there's nothing worse than the flight back home for a holiday. So there'd be nothing worse for a flight back home for a holiday with cancer. That'd be real piss.
Yeah.
So I came back for that and I thought, brilliant news, not cancer. I was buzzing. I thought that's the end of it, not a trouble. But the doctor says you need to come in and see us. So I went in. Thought it was going to be like some sort of like outpatient, like just that's it. See you later. No trouble. But he says it's too big to leave. So if it grows any, you might get loss of function because it's on a nerve. So that nerve controls my right leg. So if it grows any, it's either going to crash into my spine or damage that nerve. So he says we need to operate to remove it. I says, what does that involve? He says, well, we have to open you up from the front and the back, remove your stomach muscles, your bowels, just all this messy stuff. He says there's 3 people in the country that can do it. They've already come up with a plan. It's an 8-hour procedure or something like that. And they can't just scoop it off the nerve. They have to just cut the nerve in 2 places, pull the whole tumour out and just tie both ends of the nerve. So when I wake up, I was like, so what's the best case scenario after that surgery? He says, well, you won't be able to use like your right leg essentially. And then me being a runner and a plumber, like your right leg is heavily
Kind of need that, don't
yeah,
we?
pretty essential. So I says, well, I don't want to do this because 1, you can't see it, 2, I can't feel it. The only reason I know it's there is because they've told me. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to do it. I just want to take my chances with it and just leave it. So they were like, we don't recommend that, but obviously it's my call. So every 6 months I have to get an MRI scan where they check if it's grown or not. If it grows, then I just have to let them go ahead. If it doesn't, then we'll leave it because there's a good chance it's been there forever. Do you know what I mean? So the last 2 scans we've had, it hasn't grown, which is pretty good. But in that period of time, so see, I think it was like 8 or 9 weeks from being told I had a tumour to being told it wasn't cancerous. I think that was about an 8-9 week period. And in that period, because I didn't know what was happening in my life, and because a doctor had told me you might lose the ability to run and walk, every single night I'd get in for work, I'd run a half marathon, then watch TV. I just ran a half marathon because I thought I didn't. If I was sitting on my I live alone as well, right? So I work alone, live alone. So it's a lot of thinking time, if you know what I mean. So if I get in for work and I wasn't busy, I'm sitting in the sofa, I'm just thinking about the situation. It was getting me in a bit of a rut.
Was all this during COVID as well?
Yeah. So nothing was open.
Mentally, that's quite.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was going for a breakup at the time as well. So I was like going for a breakup. It was like those dark, cold winter nights.
Do you think that was like the breakup was partly caused to your reaction to getting told that you might have cancer?
No, the breakup it was actually a pure messy situation. I'd rather not talk about the breakup scenario.
Just
Alex always asks the hard-hitting questions.
do you know what I mean? Like stuff like that,
Yeah.
especially during COVID.
Yeah.
Like obviously when I was asking that question,
The breakup was
before,
self-inflicted, but I was like more.
well, I didn't even know.
You don't realise though, things going on like that, like
Yeah.
I'm here listening to that and I would be myself.
Yeah.
And things like that, if you're not, what they say, you're right in yourself. If you're not right in yourself, then little things become big things.
Yeah.
But this is like on social where people put on there, if you're not all right, like reach out and send a message, because stuff like that. I mean, even I struggled during COVID. Like the last lockdown seemed to go on forever. My hair, you know what I'm like for getting my hair done. Literally, like
His hair looks shit for months.
but everything just felt like it was getting on top of me. People were off with COVID here. There was 4 members of staff in here running the business, busier than ever. Can't get a container. Like, can you drop some of that in there?
Yeah.
You know, where you get told potentially, you're not going to walk again.
I say it was heavy duty because you don't. There's too many things going on at once. So like, you see while all this is happening as well, like life doesn't slow down. You still got to earn money, and you're still going through a pandemic. But I didn't want to tell anybody about this because I didn't want to scare people, or I didn't want people thinking I was a bit of a sick note. Do you know what I mean? You know, you can kind of get tired with that sick person brush. Like, but even though that sounds ridiculous now, this is what was going on in my head. And then because I actually, like, I've been in relationships before where like I wasn't that good and I mistreated people and blah blah blah. So there was about a month's period where I thought all this stuff was happening to me because of like things I'd done. So I was like blaming myself as well. So I ended up like getting on it quite a lot, as in
having a drink.
Yeah, and all the other silly stuff, and I was doing that for a period of time because that was like the release of it. But what you don't realise is, even though when you're doing stuff like that, it makes you feel better temporary. It doesn't even make you feel better.
It's escapism, isn't it?
It's just, it doesn't even make you feel better, it's just switching off. But then it's a bad trap to get down because it is temporary, and then when you do sober up again, you're in the same position you were, but you're worse. Do you know what I mean? Because that's how you're choosing to do it.
Yeah, tired and hungover.
Yeah, so I was doing the extremes. So I was like running a half marathon every night. I ran from like Bovril Castle to Edinburgh Castle, which is like 50 miles, just because like I just wanted to use my body all the time. Like I took nothing for granted after that. But I do say that like everybody has 2 lives, and the second life starts when you realise you've only got 1 life. Do you know what I mean? So this could have happened to me when I'm 27 now, and this was happening when I was 26. But this could have happened to me when I was 36 or 46, and that could have been the moment when I went.
To be fair, if you hadn't have had the blood in your urine, you might not have ever found.
But I'm glad it happened now. If anything, it'd be better if it happened when I was 16 instead of 26, and because the sooner it happened, the sooner I got my wake up call that even though working, all these things are great. Like I used to work 7 days a week, and I'd be thinking I was getting on in life. I was like, oh look at all this money I'm making, not making tax man. I was like,
look at all this money that I could have made.
Yeah, look at all this charity plumbing.
What's this money you're all talking about?
Yeah, Pete's like, oh, I don't see any.
Monopoly champion. No, but yeah. So I thought I was getting on in life doing all this stuff, and then I realised like, hold on a minute, like there's a lot more to this. This world.
Has that changed how much you work then now? Like, what's a typical work week for you?
Well, when you were messaging me about like doing this podcast, and then maybe I think someone said something about maybe coming to see like a day in the life of me, and I was like, you ain't going to see much plumbing because
I don't do much anymore.
No, I bought a kayak recently, so in Scotland there's some amazing places for kayaking. So I take the dogs. I've got 2 dogs, Stella and Sky, 2 Sprocker Spaniels. They've got life jackets.
Stella as well. Yeah, called Stella.
Yeah.
Named after Stella Artois.
Stella Artois, Sky Sports. It's the dogs. Stella Artois.
It's not just me with weird names.
Aye, but they've got wee life jackets. I think they're called puppy preservers or something. I don't know. But anyway, they've got the wee handles on them, so they come out kayaking with us. So see, if you work 5-6 days a week, it can be quite a highly stressful job. What we do, all the invoicing sides and all that as well.
You're always on the end of that. That's what I find.
Yeah.
And if you're on social media as well, like, like we are, it's sort of just that never, I talk to you sometimes and literally you're just like, Pete.
You can tell when you ring me,
Pete.
And I start reading a message while I'm on the phone. He's like, I've lost you now, I've lost you.
Yeah, okay. Pete, you're still there? Pete, you're still there?
I'm like, yeah, I'm just replying to this customer. Just give me a second.
But that's the thing, is like, these make life easier.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you take on more.
Yeah.
Like I sit at home on social media till like 10, 11 o'clock. I'm still sending these guys stuff that I found, like, Nathan, this new website. Have you changed this? Stuff like that. And I'm just sat there and I can't switch off.
Yeah.
But it does start to affect everything else. And maybe something like that is a blessing in disguise in a weird sort of way to make you realise there is more to.
Yeah, 100%. It's the best thing. It's the best thing that's actually. It's going to sound mad, but it's literally the best thing that's happened because it's just opened up my eyes to how we should live. Like, so, a typical Sunday for me would just be getting the kayak, getting the dogs, driving somewhere, going out in the middle of a loch and just switching off, no phone, nothing, just totally chilling out. And that's, I think there's a connection between humans and water that just makes us like it's good for the soul. Do you know what I mean? Swimming and things like that.
Just getting outside's pretty good.
Well, we're made for it. Well, people think that the way we live now is going on forever, but we didn't have cars and mobile phones like 200 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, we are actually we're all animals at the end of the day.
Even like central heating. Like,
Yeah. The Romans
a very
invented that,
modern
didn't
thing.
they?
So
They used to they made a channel around the edge of the rooms, and they used to tip boiling water in it. And that was the first.
your body's like, it's incredible what you can. I mean, you see like that guy who's just got the world record for holding a plank. I can do like a minute.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, there's
For
like
like
people,
11 hours.
people that
Yeah,
do
it was
like
mad, isn't it?
Ironmans and stuff like that. I'm just like,
That's what I do. I do things like that because I'm mentally insane. But no, but what we done was because all this happened, right? A doctor literally sat down and said to me, "So see if I'll show you a picture of the tumour. But when you see scans of a tumour and you're being doing all these tests and that, not many people have a 6 centimetre tumour and get told by a doctor, right, just go live your life. Do you know what I mean? So I felt like I had to do something. I felt like I owed it to the people that, because there were
don't
people,
get to do it.
yeah, there were people in the same scenario as me, and they get told, nah, listen, you're going in chemo straight away, or like, do you know what, this is irreversible, you're going to die. Like, that happens to people. So I was like, I need to do something, because the people that have been told that, they would give anything for a second chance. So I came up with the idea to run from I wanted to push my body as well. I wanted to come up with a challenge. Oh, banging the table. I wanted to
I love that. He's like,
yeah, I wanted to come up with a challenge that would physically represent what I was going through mentally, if that makes sense, because it was a pretty dark time. So I came up with the idea of running 15 marathons in 15 days, Hampden, where Scotland play their football in Glasgow, to Wembley, and we arrive at Wembley on the same day Scotland played England.
so was this for charity as well?
Yeah.
How much did you raise for?
We raised £100,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done on
It was
that one.
we actually raised £50,000, but a guy called Lord Willie Hockey and Sir Tom Hunter, they promised to double whatever we raised. But I think he said that when we were at like 18 grand. So when we got up to 50, he must have thought, oh fuck. Yeah, but he is a great guy. Like that's unheard of, that sort of charity. It's unreal. But it was to build a community centre in Glasgow Green, which is a park in Glasgow, and it's for basically targeting like underprivileged kids. So it's a bit of a sports centre where people in that area, East End and that, can basically go. So that's why we raised the money. But there's a couple of grants you can get in Scotland that are worth like £250,000 each, but the only way you can access them is if you have like proof of funds. So this 100 grand that unlocks like a couple of grants. So by getting this 100 grand, we've got so much more, and then with the publicity of it, we've got all these investors, all these local companies coming in. So I've had so many messages like roofers and things like that. Like, yeah, we're willing to do it.
I mean,
so
to be fair, well done to you for like, taking something that's really shit, and actually bringing something else out of it. Because I know that you do stuff. That's how you are a lot of the time with stuff. Is you don't do it.
It's like it's in your head, isn't it? It's like, how do you cope with it? You went down the route of using alcohol as a coping mechanism, and then you realise that wasn't the best thing to do, but then you changed it. Some people would be defeatist.
Some people would still be drinking themselves silly now.
You're obviously very strong up there, and that's a credit to you.
There's one thing that resonates with me, and it's true, and it was only until I heard this it turned a corner for me. So like, if you would get in a plane without knowing who the pilot is, and you would get in a boat without not knowing who the captain is, and you'd get in a bus or a train not knowing who's behind the wheel, because there's things in life that you just can't control. The only thing that we are in control of is our own self and our own mind. So the only thing we can control is how we react to things, how we adapt to scenarios. If someone doesn't like you or something doesn't go your way, that's out of your control. Don't let that get to you. And then once you realise that what you can control and what you can't control, as soon as you realise that you're in control of yourself, everything external can't harm you, because you're in control of yourself.
It's a better motivational speech than Adam Dunlap. I thought nobody's topping that when he was on the other week.
I just wanted to touch about, because we had I think considered spooky exchange of messages one day.
Yeah.
Because I follow you on Instagram. Yeah. But we'd never really we weren't chatting.
I've got all your pictures on my wall.
Signed.
But I saw on your story that you were going through something, and I messaged you to see if you were all right and whatever. And then it was like, I don't know if it was like months apart or a year apart, but I was just driving along on a Saturday morning, and I was going to Poachings to pick some materials up, and I just thought, I wonder how Alex is doing. And I messaged you, didn't I? It was just completely... I don't know why I thought you just popped into my head. Yeah. And then we had a little chat, didn't we?
It was good, mate. It was good. Yeah. See, when things were a bit shitty at the time, as staff, people always say reach out and talk to people, but I make a joke about everything. So like I actually struggle. Like I couldn't even sit down with my family and pure open up. There's just something within me that just doesn't have that mechanism.
Some families are like that though, aren't they?
I think that's a very male thing because I'm exactly the same.
I don't like, even my mates, like I would take like, I would get a right good drink and then it'd be in a kitchen somewhere and I'd be like, pure, that's when I'd like pure open up a bit, because there's just I just have a mechanism in me that just doesn't.
Guys,
open up,
you don't
know what I mean?
talk about feelings at all, do you?
No, but that's kind of why I run, like, because running's like a good way of, so that's kind of what I was doing, because if I wasn't running, then I was thinking, if that makes sense, and it was during that time, I didn't know what to think, you know what I mean?
Did you find when you used to run, would you think over stuff while running, or is it you can switch off?
No, when I run, I think of mad things like stopping terrorist attacks and all that, like fighting dragons and shit.
I've just got pictures now, Forrest Gump legging it, trying to put this right, that right.
Come on, dragons!
When I run, I just think, God, this is boring.
Nah,
I really
struggle.
I just think, fuck, my knees are really killing me. I get like probably 2 miles at the road.
I proper shot myself in the foot, because I was in Seville last week for the Celtic game, because I'm a keen football fan, and I got quite a good relationship with some of the radio stations during the run. So they phoned me up to say, we want you to tell us what's it like in Seville, how are all the Celtic fans, send us some pictures, we'll get you live on the show. And I was like, yeah, that's great. So they phoned me and I was absolutely steaming, mate.
It's great out here, and the beer is good.
The person at the radio station is called Jo, who like I'm good friends with, and she was like, right, okay, you'll be on at like 7, so just make sure you're not too drunk by then. At this point it was like 2 PM and I was already like 4 pints in. So I was like, that's fine. But when I was on it, like, oh, so Alex, congratulations on the run, just remind all the listeners about it. Have you got a new challenge? What else is happening? And I was like, yeah, I think I'll give it a year or two. I'm going to swim the channel. Woke up the next day, mate, right? I woke up the next day with like the worst hangover ever, and my phone pure buzzing off, pure good luck with channel swimming. So there's nothing worse than a hangover. There's nothing worse with the fear, and there's nothing worse like shooting yourself in the foot.
So you got channel swim.
Yeah, I'll definitely do it, but it's mind over matter, isn't it?
We were all like, oh, we'll leave the channel swim to you.
Yeah.
The channel swim, you get part way, halfway in, you've got to go that way or that way.
Yeah.
You can't just go, fuck it,
You'll get
I'm
halfway
done.
and you'll be like, yeah, shit.
Well, there's obviously there's some rules. So you have to go with a support boat, but to get that support boat, you need to get a captain. So all this needs hired. So it's like to do it, it costs like £4,000. It doesn't.
I reckon we raise that on Trade Legends.
It's not just putting a pair of shorts on and jumping. I mean, I'm off the cat.
Hey, man, he'll look after
Bit
you.
of Vaseline.
Yeah, it's just a lot of Vaseline. Yeah.
But you're not. If you touch the boat at any time, you're disqualified. Type of thing. Yeah. So.
What happens if the boat touches you?
That's true, mate.
You got your head down and it just touches your feet or something like
Well,
that.
I don't think it's.
I'd be fuming.
You're out, done, get him out.
The captain gets you disgraced. $4,000 that was. I'm fuming.
No, but so that's something to look forward to. But I need that. I need something quite. I'm doing the Manchester Marathon next Sunday, and then I think I'm going to do the Dubai Half Ironman in March. So I was going to go to Tenerife for a couple of months. See, this is the decisions I'm making now since this tumour's happened. Like, so last year was like the worst winter ever, and then I says this year I'm going. 2020 was hell. Did I say 2020?
2020.
Yeah, 2020 was hell. So I was like, 2021 is going to be like my year. I need to make it. Right. So that's why I've done that run and things like that. And then I'm thinking maybe if I go away in November, December, and just take some time out, enjoy. See, that's the thing. I don't have a boss, and I don't have a girlfriend. So these are the people. And
same thing, innit?
I know. I was about to say I've got a boss.
No, but
she's my girlfriend.
Yeah, but you need those people in your life to sort of keep you grounded and stop you doing stupid things. So you don't have doing that. If you don't have people like that in your life, you just end up everything you do.
I think that's good. That's something good to come out of like a shit situation. So for anybody listening, it's sort of like to show that even when you're having a real crap time, actually you can take.
There's always hope, isn't there? There's always something you can do. You just got to you've got to realise it. Which when you're in a dark place, when you've had bad news, it can be hard to get there. But
everyone's in control of their own mind. So if you're feeling down, if you're in a bad place, just know that you are in control of yourself. So it's up to you to make the difference. Do you know what I mean? Everyone you can talk to whoever you want, but when it comes down to it, it's in you to do it. You know what I mean?
And like people say all the time, if you are going through something and you probably think you're alone, you're not, because there's so many people in the world that will have gone through exactly the same thing or something very similar. So if you do get the strength to talk to someone about it or reach out to someone about it, you'll feel a lot better when you find out that you're not on your own.
Back to you, actually, Mark. Now,
I don't run.
Do you?
I would have said with a body like that, you're a seasoned athlete, mate.
Powerlifter?
Out of all the things you could have said, you're powerlifter, mate.
I'll take that. However, I do cycle. So, or did.
Oh yeah, you've just been to the
Pyrenees.
Yeah.
Was there the weekend just gone.
did
I
see
saw
it.
that. I saw
In
that.
your short bib.
Short bib.
In your short bib, I saw
Yeah,
it.
yeah. No, so pre-COVID, I used to cycle a lot. I've done coast to coast, Wales in a day.
So what we need to do is get a joint challenge with both of you guys.
Yeah.
Something really radical.
We could do like a relay triathlon, so I'll do the running bit.
Yeah.
You can do the swim and then...
Yeah.
No, you swim, you're a lifeguard, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
No, you can save you when you get halfway.
He has the support boat.
He's in the support boat.
Yeah,
You could do a giant one, couldn't you?
Yeah.
The Trade Legends Challenge.
When I was fit, I say that the last 18 months work-wise, because it's gone so busy.
Yeah, something has to give, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
and so that happened, and I was cycling a lot at the time, probably doing 250 mile a week on my bike. You know, I live quite local to here, you know what the roads are like,
Yeah,
right? Through Knoll, through...
Just watch out for
Warwick.
dickheads on Teslas.
Oh, is that his Tesla,
Yeah.
is it? I can't even
Run
hear
you
him
off the
coming.
road.
Yeah, coming. So I used to cycle a lot, and then, as you say, something gave. The work was just racking up, and as we all know, being self-employed, when that COVID hit, you weren't turning anything down because you didn't know which way it was going to go. So you're just lumping everything you had, not turning anything away. And the cycling gave. I think I put on 1.5 stone, maybe 2 stone in the last 18
I
months.
feel your pain. I'll get married in 3 weeks as well. Sorry, babe.
Oh, just get some ratchet straps.
Get a cummerbund.
That's it.
But no, I wanted to come back to you because we found out, obviously, when we put these beers on and we had the lovely Joe
Yes.
Reynolds from Church Farm Brewery, that you actually used to milk. Is it milk cows?
I think I used to milk the cows. I used to
Not
deliver
as a job, as a hobby.
That's what I used to do in the spare time.
Is he in there milking them cows again? Tell him to f- off.
He's only
like
supposed
this.
to deliver the milk, not milk it. So you delivered milk when Church Farm was a...
yeah, straight out of school, 16. I didn't do uni. I didn't do A level. I did none. I literally finished school, 16.
Did you definitely? Were you one of those that? Because I had mates that were just like, I'm never
I'm
getting.
done.
To, yeah,
That's it. I'm out.
And they never went to college. They never went to
yeah,
uni.
yeah.
Did you actually milk cows?
Not physically. No, I
He's like that.
delivered the
Yeah,
milk.
I'm
So,
sorry,
yeah,
yeah.
He's like,
what?
"Jeez, can you still do it? I'll run down.
I think Joe's fella, Andy Wren,
Yeah.
I think he did teach me how to milk him at one point, but I was there.
Is there a show us a technique?
I can't remember now.
That's got to be one of the
working from the top.
weirdest
Yeah.
jobs. Like
Yeah.
you're milking a cow.
Yeah, it's
Because now it's just you stick the thing on the udders, don't you?
No,
Yeah,
what
that's
what
it.
baffles me is someone done it for the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Imagine going to grab your mate, like, mate, look at this. Like, what the f*** doing that for?
I reckon I can get something out of them.
Kinky bastard.
But yeah, so I went from school, not academic, academic. Speak, can't even say it.
It's
Not
a trade legends,
academic, yeah. I
yeah,
said
thanks.
weren't great. So I literally knew it was, the trades I was going to go into.
Did you know at that time that it would be most likely plumbing? Was there
No,
anybody in, like
no.
your dad or anybody?
No,
around?
my old man, he was a painter, not a decorator, painter.
Does you remember Bunda?
Yeah.
Can't say he's a painter. He's a
Gotta be
decorator.
disgusting. No, he was he used to paint fire. Everything's linked to him. Fire engines,
Yeah.
dust
Lifeguard
caps.
seats.
Yeah, all red. Used to be a vehicle painter.
Yeah.
And I can tell you exactly how I got into it. I remember growing up, there was a lad that lived down the street, and coming into it, young lad, used to love my cars and stuff like that. And he had a Rover 216 GTI. He was 17 or 18, and I remember saying to him, how have you got that? A young lad, how have you got a...
Plumbing.
And it literally went, I'm a plumber. And I went straight away, that's for me then. If you could have a car like that, being a plumber, I'm in. So that was 16. Then I started, because where Church Farm Brewery is half a mile from my house.
So you're over by the Hat and Arms.
Yeah, literally just round the corner from there.
Nice part of the world.
Yeah, it's lovely. So got a Saturday job, helping out a lad doing the milk round up at Church Farm Dairy at the time, and then started doing that. So it was that cross of finishing school, then going out, delivering milk for them, and while sorting my apprenticeship out to start plumbing. And there was like a crossover about 6 months, just passed my test. Had where their farm is, there's a little village next to it. So the lad doing the milk round would go, right, I don't even think I had a licence at the time. I don't know if it sounds like. But of course, out in the sticks, out in the country, you take the Land Rover full of milk on the back, you deliver to that village while we go out and do Warwick, Leamington, this, that and the other. So I'll just go down there, deliver the milk round there, and then the college course come in. So I just cracked on with the plumbing and hoping to get me a Rover 216 GTI.
Did you?
No, I went a step ahead. I bought a Sierra Cosworth.
Oof.
Yes,
Wow.
went big boys tackle straight from the. No, I think
And then you drove down the road to him and went,
Yeah.
Have you got your licence now?
Yeah, still, yeah. Luckily, there was a point where it was touch and go. That's why that car had to go years ago.
So what was your first car?
So the first car I had was what was it? Mark III Escort Gear. So I went from that for about 6 weeks. Then I bought an XR3i. And I think the XR3i, the insurance was
astronomical,
3 times the price of what the car
astronomical.
was. And then I went from there, and from then on, it was just car after car after car. Nova SRs, Golf GTIs, Sierra Cosworths. Just that was my thing. You know, a few lads went out on the piss and football orientated and all that. So I went the other way, car way. Which sort of kept me on the straight and narrow to a degree. You know, I weren't spending my money on beer and this, that, and the other. It was just all about.
It's expensive hobby, that, isn't it, the cars?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
proper expensive. I've got a 1974 Volkswagen Late Bay Transporter, which is good. But I bought it I went up north, bought it, brought it back down. The next day I get a phone call, you've got a tumour. So I think it's cursed.
Have you still got it?
Yeah. I need to do it up, man. It's been sitting in my mum's driveway for a year now, and I'm like,
I thought you were going to say that's another crazy thing where you just thought, you know what, I'm going to go and buy a new car.
Yeah, no, do you know, I'm very impulsive. We were working up north and I was just sitting in a hotel room and I was just looking at like old Volkswagens, and then I saw one on the Wednesday, and then on the Saturday I bought it. It was,
You're like that though with certain things, aren't you?
Yeah,
Occasionally
like
I see you like, I brought this old gramophone player or something like something.
I like old stuff, and I'm always on eBay looking for.
yeah, Facebook Marketplace are dangerous
Yeah.
places.
See, I had
Don't
a
get him
spate of going through. I bought loads of antiques. So I got into chairs, antique chairs, and
Yeah.
I just think they look cool. I bought
I've got-
whether it links back. I bought a milking stool. I can see where we go. Milking, but it's
Well done,
just,
Joe, well
it
done,
looks-
Ben.
it looks
Definitely
dead
uncover the
cool.
fetish here.
Oh yeah, it looks dead cool. It's just like a 3-legged old, and I dare say it's probably 100 years
Keep
old.
those milking hands away from me.
Like that. But I dare say it's 100 years old. I just think in my head, what? This is going to sound odd now. What's this sin? What's that? If that could tell a story, it's been here, it's been there. And I just find myself, you know, I will go to places, you'll stand there and go, what was this like 300 years ago? You know, what's this area sin? I live near Warwick Castle. You think that's what that's seen over the years.
There's a lot of history around that area.
Oh yeah, it's mega. And you take it for granted. I go over Castle Bridge every day. You know, there's a historic medieval castle, probably one of the finest. I sound like I'm selling it. One of the finest in the country. Absolutely gorgeous.
Warwick tour guide.
Yeah. Go over it every day. Don't batter an eyelid. And then you see people travel hundreds.
When was it built? You obviously know if you're in Warwick, but this is like a $1 million. Imagine this on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It's like, Mark, your $1 million question is, what was the year?
I reckon it was
Warwick Castle. being built?
There's some
Should we have a
link
look?
to
Hold on,
it
have
to
a look.
1066. There's some link to it to William the Conqueror somewhere along the lines.
Battle of Hastings.
Yeah, something like that. But I know for a fact Michael Jackson tried to buy it at one point.
Did he?
Yeah. Never successful.
Oh.
Never had it.
Warwick Castle is a medieval castle developed from a wooden fort originally built by William the Conqueror during the 1068.
2 years out.
Wow.
That's impressive, actually.
Yeah.
I'll talk to the girls.
I'm going like that as if it's my castle. You see what I mean?
You like that?
Yeah.
Go like that. Who wants to milk me?
He's like that Leonardo DiCaprio picture.
He's like, get in there.
But yeah, just you take a lot for
Past
granted.
Warwick history lesson, well done.
Yeah.
Considering
That's
you
the
said
one
you
thing I
wanted to
did
get out
take
of
from
school,
school.
you're like
Yeah,
that.
I'll take that history. But ironically, so when you were at school, I 80 lessons. Now I love history.
Yeah.
Love delving into any sort of
But
stuff.
where do you think that comes from? Do you think that comes from your work or the types of jobs you work on, or is that just something that, as you've got older, you appreciate more?
Yeah, I think it is. You know, and hearing people's stories. I lost my old man to cancer nearly 20 years ago, and I just wish now I could sit for an hour. Because when he passed away, I was early 20s, and there's so many stories that my aunties have passed to me. Oh, your dad did this, your dad did, and I wish at the time I was just about going out doing what I wanted to do, typical young early 20. I wish I'd sat down with him and tell me about what you was like when you was a kid. Tell me what was your first job. And they're the things you can't get back. So now I just love listening to
stories.
Yeah, I'll go and find the old boy in the middle corner of a pub, sat there. Tell me something. Tell me about stuff. I'm just dead interested in stuff like that. Yeah, I like a bit of history.
Yeah. Do you think that sort of impacted your work in any sense? All that type of stuff?
Yeah, I won't move to press fit. I'm just stuck in the
1066, he's still there.
I look at that guy.
He's still there.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that thing about press fit because it's the same in here with certain things when your business is evolving, like social media. Like I'm lucky that sort of I caught onto that before a lot of other brands. But if you don't sort of catch onto it, sometimes you get left behind. But I know what it's like when you're so used to doing something a certain way.
Yeah,
you need to get pressing. You will get left behind. Right, I'm just going to ask you a completely random question. Would you buy a house if you knew someone had died in it? When I say died, I mean been murdered in it.
Probably not.
Yeah, why not?
Because we were talking about this the other day.
I've been reborn now, so whatever happens.
We were talking about this the other day, and it was a lady, and she said that she wouldn't.
Is this why you've got this mystic dog bowl? Can you just explain to everybody what the dog bowl is for?
Yesterday I was on the Lawton Tube, so they make copper pipe. I was on their stand, and we had a pipe bending game. People were bending copper pipe.
Did they make that while you were there?
This is just an end cap off, what is it, 150 mil?
It's 6 inch, I think it's 150 mil.
150 mil end cap, so that's an actual fitting that they polished up.
Press fit.
And they had mints in it. And I'd been looking at it all day. I was on the stand, and I just went up to Robert. He's Robert Lawton. He's one of the brothers that own a company. And I said, "Can you get me one of them bowls? Because I want it on my desk." It's like social media and doing stuff.
You just want it on.
You get opportunities. I just think that's cool, and that's a reminder. And
if
who else has got one?
If ever he reaches rock bottom, he can go down the scrappers, and he's got a tenner there.
Weigh that in.
That'll be on my desk, and that's just like a reminder of something I did. I thought I'd show you.
Here's one I made.
And is the M for murder? Going back to the
M. Well, it's actually a W. It's for Alex for Wanker of the Year. Congratulations!
No, it's Woodward. That's what it is.
Woodward. He's like,
could be either for me or you.
Milker of the decade.
Yeah. Milkman.
You get Wanker and Milker.
Brilliant.
There you go. Leave it there.
So yeah, would you live in a house where somebody had been murdered?
I think I would because this is
if it's like a really old house and you know that they've been dead, like if it was like, I don't know, from 2 weeks ago,
blood up the walls.
They painted over it. It was like.
I just think there's so much going on. You might think about something for a day, a week.
What if it's like midnight and you're eating your Rice Krispies and you're a creek upstairs? You know.
Well, this is her argument was that she would constantly be thinking. About it, so she couldn't live. But I just think, would you? You just.
I wouldn't bother me.
Would you guys live in a?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I know you would. You're bloody weird. I'm talking about. You'd be like that. You'd be like, where are you? Where are you? You'd be having a séance in there. Séance with some
Ouija
sort of
board.
Yeah.
Are you still here?
Yes,
Give
you
me a
are.
sign.
Pete's just doing some market research before he murders his missus.
Am I going to be able to sell my house after?
What happens to the property prices after?
Would you buy my house if I killed my wife?
But just going off the back of that, I did probably 20 years ago now. Yeah, it would have been 20 years ago. We did a refit for a building company in Warwick at, the Hatton Estate, the Hatton Hospital. So there's a massive hospital there that used to be a renowned mental. Is that politically correct? Mental asylum.
My old house that I've just moved out of, on there they had a. They called it a mental institute.
I think they like calling it a bonkers house now.
Yeah.
No,
they actually called it a mental asylum.
Yeah, I worked in Hatton. We did the refit for a company in Leamington, AC Lloyds, done the whole refit on it. And the actual wings of the mental bit, the mental asylum bit, when they were building it, we were doing the plumbing, the first fix plumbing on it. And they've literally just dot and dab board to the murals that these people have drawn when they're in proper bad state. The end of the world is coming and all this sort of stuff that's, quite worrying things, death, the end of the world. And they've just dot and dab boards on, bang. And it's now like they're selling them for, I think when they first went, there was £1 million apartments that local footballers were buying and this, that, and the other. If they were to rip that board off, you've got some
see the Matrix on the
you've got some proper scary behind there. Yeah. But you just don't know what's going on in going back to that, you don't know what's going on in buildings.
Do you want to do your Jerry Springer final thought?
I just think you should give, if you've got a final message you want to, if you want anything you want to say, motivational, plug your YouTube channel, whatever you want to say. Let's
Put
just
it
finish
down
off.
there. You do the shameless plug. He does the good speech. And they go, oh,
Yeah.
Again, not again.
You might have a word of wisdom, inspirational speech, anything you want to
Top
share.
tip.
Yeah, okay, so I'll plug my
or a
YouTube
good
channel.
joke. Or a good joke. Have you got any good jokes?
Yeah, I've got the typical one, and I reckon...
Can you beat? Because we haven't done gag of the day yet. Have you got a...
Joke of the day.
It's shit,
Yeah.
this is and being plumbers, I've probably heard it. It's like,
He-
a classic, it's like a classic. I think they teach it at college, this joke.
Yeah.
What did the plumber say to his ex-wife? It's overflow. That's it?
My dad's got some jokes. We actually
What's your best one? You got to have one now.
no when I get put in the spot. No, but one of the most embarrassing times with my dad, we were in the Merchants and he bought a non-return valve and he went, "Can I take that back?" So
Dad jokes are the worst, though. Aren't they? They are. You love them.
he was like, "Nah, it's a non-return
You,
valve."
I could imagine you with like just an army of dad jokes.
I just think I like when people are quick and they're
Yeah.
witty. I think sometimes that's...
You got one for today.
Well, I've got loads of jokes, but...
Come
Yeah,
on.
so when you're on the spot, you can't even think of them. can
Yeah.
We
you?
just need to check first with our HR department if Pete's jokes are PC enough for.
PB enough.
Did they mention?
Someone knocks on the door and a little kid opens the door and he's got a bottle of vodka in one hand, porno mag in the other, smoking a cigar. And the chap says, "Is your mum in?" He says, "It look like it." No. What's red and bad for your teeth? A brick.
Oh.
A fire engine.
You'd be worried if a fire engine was smacking
Caught
you
in
in
me
the face.
teeth. What's this?
Come at me, fire engine. So yeah, anything else?
Top tip.
Top tip.
I'll get a lot of, as Pete probably does as well, through the YouTube. Oh, what voice have you got? This, that, and the other. And the first day I started my plumbing apprenticeship, within the first 10 minutes, the guy I did it with said, "I'll give you one bit of advice: look after your knees. Always look after your knees. So, always put pads in your trousers. Look after your knees. If you haven't got, trousers that you can take pads in your knees, a couple of lengths of lagging, cut them up, tape them together. Always look after your knees.
That's a good look.
It's a strong look.
Well, you need to run a stunner.
Yeah, it's run a plumber star. If you're going to use it, you're going to have to get it right.
Get it right, son. Imagine if you got that in the. Imagine you told a girl and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm dating stunner runner plumber," and you'd be like, "No, it's plumber,
Yeah,
runner,
plumber, runner.
stunner."
Get it right.
Yeah, well, it's easier for her to remember. She just has to look at my massive back tattoo.
So what is? Have you got it on
No.
there? I was about to say.
Obviously not.
Picture of PV as well.
Yeah. Just all he has is like a dynamo moment. Like, guys, look, this is all he has. And it was happening.
Alex
Plumber.
has got on his lower back, it says, "Insert a charger here."
Yeah.
It does.
No, what it does is I've actually got a
Power
tattoo.
band.
I've got a tattoo of a total dart score. I already knew it before I came here.
Oh,
Like.
that's so funny. Plumber, runner, stunner. I love that. Absolutely love that. So yeah, thank you very much for coming.
Hang on, let him do his motivational speech. Come on,
Oh,
give,
yeah.
give him something
Just chopped him
to
up.
end with.
Get money, get paid. No,
Get laid, get money, get paid, get
Get
laid.
laid.
We don't make any money. We don't make that money.
Nah, well, on a serious note, if you're ever going for anything, there is always a way out. Not that way. Just, nah, I'm pretty poor at saying that. Just believe in yourself, and you can conquer anything. Because if I can do it,
We've had some
anyone
good
can do it.
motivational speeches on air. We need to get these guys like him and Adam Dunlop as like.
That's the nice part. If you can encourage someone to do something, if you can impact someone's life in a positive way, that's the nice thing about doing stuff like this. Spreading a message. So,
Well, glad that you're all right.
Yep.
Thank you very much for coming down, and thank you very much to you as well for
No problem.
your second podcast in 2 weeks, isn't it?
Like a podcast slut,
I know, yeah. Whoring yourself out to.
Podcast whore.
Just do whatever. Do whatever.
It's just like you podcast. So yeah, thank you as well to yourself. Well done on your award and your dog
thank
bowl.
you very much.
Yeah.
Matching your outfit. For everybody just at home who's watching on YouTube, can you just hold the dog bowl next to your attire, please, Pete?
The dog bowl wasn't the weirdest bit. It's when he came in with that lead on.
Still got it outside.
Mark's looking at me thinking, "Can I milk you?"
So that's episode 6 done. Is it episode 6?
Yep.
Bang, bang.
Bang bang. Runner, plumber, runner, stunner.
Plumber, runner, stunner.
we're
Runner,
at-
plumber, stunner.
And we're out. Thank you guys.
Do you want to sit in the middle?
If you like listening to Al talk over all the guests. If you've enjoyed this episode of Trade Legends, listening to Al talk over everybody else and people banging on the desk. If you've enjoyed listening to and watching today, you're fucking gonna just stay still, one space, just for a minute.
If you've enjoyed watching this, blah, 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 blah. Right,
just,
3, 2, 1, go.
So I'll just not do it.
Go.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna shut up for just like a minute. If you've enjoyed listening and watching today's Trade Legends podcast, please subscribe to our channel. It will really help us out. We're a new podcast. We want to do big things, and you subscribing, hitting the little bell so you get notifications would be just great. Thank you.
Hitting the little bell. I was like, yeah, ding, 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 ding.
There is a little bell in there.